Good morning, viewers. Good afternoon, David. This is David here, come back from the depths to talk with us today. So, hey, David.
Hey, Natune, how are you?
Yeah, really good today. So a bit like Dylan was inspired to contact him and do a bit of a response to, the recent US election results that, has sent shockwaves across through everywhere. I contacted David and said, "Hey, why don't we do this?" And so we're now coming to share our reflections about the US election and maybe some more. We'll just see where this goes. But yeah, so David, could you first share, what your initial, just your personal initial reaction and response was, when you discovered the results and everything, or, even prior?
Um, I was not actually surprised,
Mm,
because I follow like the markets, the stock markets, the sentiment on the stock market. That's usually a pretty good idea where the election or the choices people will make. And the betting markets had already forecasted a Trump win,
mm,
majority Trump win, with 312 electoral college votes, about I think 58 Senate seats, and then somewhere around 221 House, the seats for the House. So they already like put the betting bet, and you know who won a lot of money? Elon Musk.
yeah, of course.
Elon Musk made the bet and he won billions of dollars for the same exact the betting. So
Mm,
I wasn't surprised. I wasn't really shocked. I mean, when doing even during the conference, I already have a sense that when I was walking through the streets, to get the pizza, and then as I walked back, we passed through some kind of a church, evangelical church. I have this sense of energy from the Christians, from the evangelical Christians. I felt this energy say, no, you guys will lose. Like the sense of energy fight going and projected towards me, right? I was like, where is this energy coming from? And then another a student was pointing to me, oh, there's a church. And I saw a church and said, oh, that's where the energy comes from. So
uh,
there's a huge projection
yeah.
of the Christian churches wanting Trump to win. And to me, I was hoping that all the work we did would make a difference. And during the conference, that Kuthumi came to my presence and challenged me, and I got so pissed off, so angry, and that's because of my focus on self. I really wanted this conference to help the Americans make a wise choice. I was really hoping that. But
Mm,
then Kuthumi challenged me. That is not your job. That is not your job to focus yourself, to put yourself out there. And then to obviously experience a fight back from, you know, the psychic projection saying that, no, you shouldn't be doing this. And so I felt actually 2 hours I was tossing and turning, tossing and turning. I couldn't sleep. And I was looking at the clock. It's like, man, it's 12 o'clock. I need to sleep. Otherwise, tomorrow I had to wake up and I wouldn't be able to wake up to the next morning and be awake attending the conference, right? So I said to myself, okay, I could just give it up. It's not my job to save America. I'm just here as a student. I'm just here to learn. I know possibly the outcome that it might perhaps go to Trump, So 2 hours later, I said, I'm at peace. And then the next morning, I saw Yulita and Kim Michaels in the elevator, and I told Kim I had a bad experience with Kuthumi, and he looked at me and said, he just sort of laughed. But that was the extent of my personal experience attending the conference, and that I had a strong feeling already that Trump will win.
Mm,
But what I didn't realize, as I shared with you before we began this the meeting, was that the votes, who were casting the votes, and I found out that the people who voted for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders also voted for Trump. And because Ocasio-Cortez was curious, um, can you explain to me why you guys like voted for me, but also voted for Trump? And they're all explaining to Ocasio-Cortez that because you guys are real, you guys speak our language, you guys speak our struggles and the pain and suffering that we're suffering here, and the other guys are not doing anything. And
mm,
then of course, some people say that if Ocasio Cortez would have been like this is Scott Jennings of CNN was saying, if the Democrat were to have an open election rather than anointing Kamala Harris, it could be possible that one of the two, Bernie Sanders or Ocasio Cortez, would take the helm. And who knows? It could be the far left of the Democrat against the far right of Trump. And
mm.
who knows, maybe the vote will have changed. But that was something
But it's
interesting that I didn't.
interesting, actually, like, as you say that, because, you know, Trump was appealing to, I care for you guys and, I'm going to help you and everything. So it's just that people aren't seeing, through to any authenticity, really, because politics as it is right now it's based on lies, it's based on illusion. So
Yes,
I guess, there's just this deeper veil that has to be pulled away for everybody, like everybody. I think what's coming out of this is this really obvious that people were holding an attachment to what the outcome should be. Like, the work we've done with the masters, which, there was this attachment that that work was meant to mean that the Democrats should win. Like, and so now, like, there's this brutal sort of mirror being reflected back, kind of like, okay, so you're not here to work out what's going to happen. You're here, you've got to work on your own reaction to this.
that's right.
Yeah.
You got to work on your own reaction, and to me, it's a fantastic learning experience because I never actually expected that if people were to vote for Bernie Sanders, they would just vote for Bernie Sanders and then vote for the party flag Democrats. But I never accepted. I mean, this is good because it's free will.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I can choose blue, I can choose red at the same time. Even though Jesus say either you choose mammon or God, right? But these people are choosing both mammon and God together. So it will be an interesting experience to learn the outcome of that. If you chose both, what will be the outcome? Because for us, we know we choose God because we are able to see beyond the illusions and beyond the rhetoric, and we know that if it's created with the mind of Antichrist, there will be consequences of that.
Mm,
But if it's created with the mind of Christ, mind of Jesus, then you will grow and you will expand as well on your growth and your creation as well too. But it's interesting. How is it that if a vast amount of people were to choose both, what would be the outcome? So that would be something I like to see.
yeah, yeah. Well, so, I think it's very easy to point the finger and say, like, now everyone who's voted for Trump, they're going to go into the school of hard knocks and learn the lesson and everything. But we're talking with people who are more likely to have had an attachment to the Democrats coming through. So what would you say, like, what would you say is the lesson that's coming for rather than pointing the finger out to look within, what's the lesson for people who've held an attachment and maybe are still holding it, a lot of avatars and people in the Ascended Master students community and so on?
I think that it comes down to what is your intention? Like, what is your intention when you vote for a person? And where does the intention come from? Like Buddha says, there are two kinds of intentions. Uh, do you have intentions to maintain the health of your body and your well-being? And also you have the intention to fulfill whatever your divine plan or your life plan that you came here for.
Yeah, and also
Now,
with that lower intention, also as I understand it, there's that intention of the ego, which is to repress any higher.
that's correct. That's right. Any higher intention. So, like the Buddha said, most people, when they come here, they don't have a life plan. And if they do, they have a very simple life plan. Whereas avatars that came here, they have an elaborate life plan. I mean, and then they can grow from using the teachings and then using the experience, working themselves. They can grow, they can raise uh, and they can shift from a lower perspective to a higher perspective just because they're able to step back and be able to observe and then learn from the experience and then grow. But for most people, I notice they grow either through the school of hard knocks or through self-reflection. And I like to elaborate what is called self-reflection, where I notice. So if you haven't actually have an experience with a benevolent narcissist, because this is what the master is talking about,
Yeah,
is that you have a choice, benevolent narcissist or not a narcissist. So this is about the choice, and this election is choosing either can you recognize a benevolent narcissist?
that's the key. Can you recognize?
That's the key. Can you recognize? Of course, I recognize it because I've been through many relationships with benevolent narcissists, as
Yeah,
I shared in the past with one of my bosses who used to be a fallen being. He's able to mask himself
yeah.
as a good guy. And also my Zen Buddhist master was also a benevolent narcissist. And he was the one that says Kim Michaels is a cult leader, David Koresh.
Mm.
But these two, I was not able to see them until one day I have a self-reflection. And all of a sudden, just like that, I snapped and saw the illusion, saw the personality, and I was able to let go of the personality that was covering the my ability to see the real person that I couldn't see. Because when you let go of your contents of your three higher bodies, like your emotional, mental, and identity bodies, you lose your personality and your demeanor and your identity that is attached to that benevolent narcissist. For example, my identity as a sensei for the Zen Buddhist organization,
Yeah.
my identity as the best technical representative and salesperson for that corporation, for that CEO. Once I lost those identity, all of a sudden I saw, what am I doing here? Why am I worshiping these two people? So I will share my stories with the Zen Buddhist master,
Hmm.
how I woke up from him.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I will share it, and I will give you an example of what the Democrats will have to go through themselves It's different from the Trump supporters. They will have to go through a very hard school of hard knocks in order for them to see. But the Democrats are almost ready to see it. That's what the masters said. It was a choice between the narcissist and Kamala. And Democrats were already ready to see it, almost ready to see it, but they chose not to see it. And they chose to vote for Trump anyways. And when I heard that from St. Germain's teachings, and when I saw the election, I knew exactly that was me 10 years ago. That was me when I was worshiping someone like Trump, who is my Zen Buddhist master. And I couldn't see that he was a benevolent narcissist, even though he was abusing me physically. And then he was lying to me physically. Even one of my students was saying, David, sensei, do you know that your sensei is a narcissist? And I said, no, you're a liar. I told my student, you're a liar. Because how can he be a narcissist? He's such so nice. He's giving, he's altruistic, he's kind, he's outgoing, and he really helps people. He helps me too. When I am in trouble and I couldn't have an answer, he would give me answers and advice that really helped me out. So I thought, okay, how can he be a narcissist? Can't be. But one day, as we were traveling to Portland, where we have the main office, the main headquarters of our Zen Buddhist organization, and after we went to the headquarters to do some training and some teachings, and then as we were heading back to Vancouver, I had a sense in my mind. There's a voice telling me, David, Sensei's tire car has a flat. And that was the message. I heard this very kind and very deep and loving voice telling me, David, your sensei's car's tires are flat. And that's it. And then as we was eating at the restaurant during dinner time, I don't know why, but my sensei was challenging me because at the time I already challenged him about some of the teachings, some of the Buddha teachings that he wasn't quite teaching the divine way, what I learned from Buddha himself, from King Michael's, because I already parallelly studying some teachings from King Michael's. And then, of course, I agree with whatever Buddha said from the King Michael's dispensation. I disagree with the sensei. And he was not really open, have an open mind to listen to the teachings and then maybe evaluate what he was teaching to us. And so he was kind of upset and angry that I have the teaching and he couldn't dispute it. He couldn't say it's wrong. He couldn't say it's a false teaching, but he was agitated. He was really agitated. He was reacting, which is kind of odd because he claims himself to be enlightened. He claims to himself he's beyond attachments. So that was the first time I saw him reacting. And then he reacted that he challenged me, David, I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to cross the border to Canada faster than you. And I said to myself, why would you challenge me, Sensei? Well, what's the point of challenging? I didn't even ask for challenge, but he was so adamant of trying to challenge me. Anyhow, in the washroom, I was trying to tell the Sensei, I think your car's tires is flat. You shouldn't be driving fast, you shouldn't need to challenge me because, you might injure yourself. You might crash a car if you drive so fast with a flat tire. So his car is a really nice car. When you have a flat, it has its self-inflator. So when you have a flat tire, the car itself can self-inflate to take you to, say, a gas station to have the tire replaced, right? But anyways, I kind of knew that. But then there's another voice that tells me, David, you don't need to tell him. Tonight you will learn a true lesson from him. And I kind of look around and say, should I tell him? Like, he's a nice guy. He's my sensei. I adore him. I look up to him. I should tell him. I don't want him to hurt. I don't want him to crash into something and get himself hurt. But then this voice is adamant. David, leave him alone. Tonight you will learn a very true lesson for yourself. And then I just let it be. And we drove off. And when it reaches about midnight, because it usually takes that close to that long to get to the Canadian border, I got a phone call from Sensei. And Sensei says, David, where are you? I said, I'm just close to Blaine, Washington. Just, half an hour before I cross the border. And I say, Sensei, did you cross the border? And my sensei says, no, my car is in a ditch. It's all totally wet. Can you come and pick? There was a student with him. It's a female student. He is basically his lover, just playing with her, having trying to get as much sex as he could. But it's interesting that he was begging for me to come, and I said, "Where are you?" Oh, just about 20 minutes from the Vancouver border. And so I saw him flashing lights. He put an emergency light on the side of the road, and I stopped. And I said, "Are you okay, Sensei?" And he looked like a headless chicken. I couldn't believe he was so scared. He was so reactive, like he was reacting how people react when they lost their car, totaled their car, and then now he knew how to go get back to Vancouver because he doesn't have a car, right? And then he was like going around, walking around like a headless chicken. And it was the first time I saw a shock in my own self. I say, this person that I admire, that I worship, is like behaving like Pee Wee Herman. It's like behaving like a loser. It's like behaving like someone who hasn't attained anything. And he was going around, and then he was begging me, said, can you come over the border tomorrow morning and pick me up? I'm gonna catch like call a cab and go into town into Blaine to get a room. And can you come and pick me up in the morning? I said, I don't think so, Sensei. Tomorrow I'm working. So you gotta have to find your own, because now I worked up that courage to challenge him. Say, before he thought, oh, I'm just gonna skip work and come over the border and pick him up, right? But then I said, because I saw him, it's not at all like um, enlightened. He's not at all calm and composed. He was all freaked out, and he claimed himself that he's the person that's beyond reaction, non-attached, and he was demonstrating all the time. This 10 years, he was demonstrating people attacking him, people try to harass him and something like that. He was always able to keep himself cool and calm. It was that moment at night that I saw him, that he let it out, that he was basically covering it up. He was faking everything. He was putting himself in a controlled environment so that he doesn't react. But the crash was not in the controlled environment that he anticipated. So the crash of the car was an omen, a teaching experience, and a liberation for me. And
Mm,
after that, I woke up and I left the Zen Buddhist organization and joined Kim. But
yeah.
if it
So like
weren't that,
the emperor had no clothes on, like that's sort of the lesson that's happened.
exactly, the emperor has no clothes on. But
Mm,
I was ready to make the switch, right? It wasn't a school of hard knocks that I had to go through.
mm,
It was a switch that I wasn't willing to make, but I had to see the illusion. It
Yeah.
wasn't it wasn't something I had to struggle, I had to go through pain and anything like that. I was ready to make the switch. In fact, the switch could have made about 2 years earlier with my student telling me, "Hey, David, he's a benevolent narcissist, right?" And I refused to make that switch, just like the Democrats refused to make the right choice, to make a higher choice. Um, and that's the same thing as me, is that I did not have that experience to see the true person of who he is. Basically, the emperor has no clothes. And when I saw, the illusion fell off my eyes and said, "Oh, you have no clothes on. Oh, you're not that tough of a guy." And that's how I managed to escape the hold that he has on me. And he still had the hold on other students, but the other students also saw. Like, I had other students, and also my sensei. I have a sensei that traveled with me, also a teacher. He saw it too.
Mm,
He was shocked that, gee, our sensei is like this, so he is a fake.
yeah. And you
But
know what? You know
mhm,
what? I'm just sort of stepping back and looking at it and comparing to the situation that's happening right now. So, a, there's a huge number of people across the world, not just America, but
mhm,
across the world, who can see that the emperor, he has no clothes on.
mhm,
And so what I'm seeing now, like, we need to step back and look at our own controlled environment, which is trying to control how other people experience that. Like,
mhm,
are we going to play a role of trying to sort of influence other people's experience in, going through the process of just step back and allow them to do keys one by one, each bit of clothing
mhm,
comes off and and just allow it to happen. And it could be very painful, or it could be very dramatic. I don't know, I think it's something that's sort of, learning to step back and not have a reaction to it and just allow everybody to do what they need to do with it. Like, because I know it's very common for avatars, like we want to step in and try and, block that karma for people, or
mhm,
change their minds. And
mhm,
it's the biggest lesson to step back and go, you know what, it's we've got to allow free will to just play itself out and remember that this is just a stage, like where it's all being played out. So, like with you with the sensei, you step back, you didn't step in by saying that the your tire's got a flat. You step back and you had to allow the drama to play out, and then you got to
mhm,
see, like, and then it's like, oh, that's why.
mhm,
You would have been protecting yeah, his control and upholding it, because we unknowingly uphold the control, even from our own benevolent perspective, we can uphold
mhm.
control.
Absolutely. And when after 2 months later, because I work with the Vancouver Police Department, because we sell a lot of surveillance equipment at the time to the Vancouver Police Department. And when we were having lunch, and me and the sergeant were good pals, so we're good customer, good client and customer relationships. And during lunch, he was sharing a story about. It's kind of weird because I didn't say it, but he was automatically volunteering a story. He was part of what's called the sexual abuse rescue team. So what is sexual abuse rescue team is about? It's about women that's being controlled by benevolent narcissists to do whatever they want. Like, the benevolent narcissists would control the women to provide them with sex, money, and whatever, right? And he was sharing a story about his friend, who is the father of the daughter, beautiful daughter, wealthy family. And the daughter met this nice guy, the benevolent narcissist, and then the narcissist, for some reason or other, have full control of her. Her parents, especially her father, knew this guy is basically a narcissist using her daughter. And then they tried to get the daughter out, tried to pull the daughter out. But the more he tried, the more the narcissist used the technique to turn himself as a victim. And
Mm.
oh, you got it, yeah. And then basically accused the father as being the offender, like the bad guy. So the daughter was stuck with him and would not budge, would not do anything to get away from him. And so the father is the best friend of the sergeant, asks for advice. Can you help us? Can you help rescue our daughter? And the sergeant says, I'll teach you how. What is your daughter like? And the father says, oh, she loves skiing. She's a great skier. We have a chalet in Whistler, which is a skiing community, and they have a house there. And she would go there, she would ski. She loves skiing. And then the sergeant says, why don't you invite this boyfriend over to your chalet, treat him nicely. Let let her know that this boyfriend is part of the family. And the father says, are you nuts? And I was hearing this because it's over lunch. Are you nuts? Like, and the sergeant says, no, listen, this is how you get how you cut off the control of a benevolent narcissist. You have you don't fight with them. What you do, you have to show the victim that he is a benevolent narcissist. And how do you show it? It's because a benevolent narcissist always like to put himself in a very controlled environment, always feel he's right, he's powerful, he's capable. That's why that's control is. It gives the illusion to the victim that he does everything, he can do it, but it's all fake. It's all imaginative in his mind.
Mm.
And he puts in himself and the victim in a controlled environment so that the victim will know otherwise. And the victim is his daughter. And what the sergeant did was advise the father to ask the daughter to take him out to the chalet, take him out of the controlled environment
Yeah.
into an uncontrolled environment with the chalet, skiing. And then the father would tease the benevolent narcissist, her boyfriend. Hey, why don't you join us for skiing? For a ski, for a ski one. Oh, you don't know how to ski? That's okay. Our daughter will teach you. She's a great skier. So of course, the benevolent narcissist always want to feel right. They say, oh yeah, I know how to ski. I'm a good skier. Of course. Then then what happened was the benevolent narcissist took the trap, took the bait, went to the chalet, went out skiing, and then of course he wants to feel right. He is the best skier. He knows how to ski. But as soon as he starts skiing, he screwed up. He fell, he crashed, and as as different as a normal person. If it's a normal person, if you fall, you don't know how to ski, you admit it. Yeah, let me try this, let me try that, right? You would ask for advice, but no, not this person. Would try again and again and fail again and again. And it's almost like watching someone who you think is Arnold Schwarzenegger but behaves like Pee Wee Herman. And that's how she saw, oh my God, how could I date this loser? Because he freaked out. He could not help himself once he's out of his controlled environment and into an uncontrolled environment. His power, his clothes, all the emperor has whatever he puts his clothes on all falls away. And that was what the sergeant taught the father, and it was successful actually. Her daughter never dated that guy again. And the guy never bothered the daughter because the daughter saw the guy as being nothing else but a benevolent narcissist. But the daughter already knew, kind of knew that he because she felt being used, because they always argue, and the argument is, how come I feel I'm being used as a sex object? How come I'm being used as your money? Like, you always ask people money, you always use me for sex, but never have the courage to really see, oh, you're just a benevolent narcissist. And this sergeant, we use a technique all the time. We know that you cannot pull people out by force. They have to be in an environment, they have to step back and see the benevolent narcissist for who he or she is right in front of them. They be able to have the experience. And once they have the experience, they will not fall for it again. Because you have to have that experience to be able to see it.
And I guess
Now,
this is why, you know, these fallen beings, these narcissists, the power elite, and so on, and this is why they'll never be able to, you know, achieve what they really want to achieve, which is, total world domination, because you've just got way too many different levels of consciousness going on and people seeing things. So you cannot control, it's just impossible to control so many people. Like, just in that one-on-one situation, he couldn't even control the skis. And
yeah.
yeah, but the classic thing, MO of any narcissist, is to get rid of everyone else from the environment and just zone in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of logical, like, that the power elite will want to try and get rid of, anyone trying to influence this environment, but it's an impossibility. Like, you just can't possibly, you can't, yeah, it's impossible. It's impossible. So, yeah, and it's just in stepping back and just allowing that situation to unfold and everything, and not get involved in trying to change that, but then coming up with, creative ways of, like, if you want to, like, what can I do? Which is not involving trying to change somebody else's consciousness. Like, what is there that someone can do to proactively um, bring their voice to the table?
I think that for people who are in the school of hard knocks, it's pretty difficult
Mm.
to get them to wake up. Other than the school of hard knocks, the harder the knocks will wake them up and let them see truly what they've done, the choices they made were basically choices that they used to try to cover up their own unresolved psychology. So these people, they don't have that sense of being able to step back and evaluate the situation and then see to take that next step. Like for us, like actually many
I'm
people,
talking about more for, yeah, people who can see the situation, like, because
if people can see the situation, it is for us to be the example. Because you can see, as I was sharing the two stories that involve my sensei and the daughter of the father, it is using examples, like examples of what you do normally. Like for the father of the daughter, would do normally is skiing. That's what the daughter could do best. And the daughter could then relate. This is what I do best. And yet somebody, it's like you're comparing. Okay, you have certain mental images in your emotional, mental, and identity bodies, and then you see reality, and you're really comparing what the daughter and myself were doing. We're really comparing the images from reality or our ability to be the example. This is our reality. What we're doing, invoking, and helping the masses do is projecting the image and the ideas of what is reality out there. And then they have their own mental images in their identity bodies, mental and emotional bodies. And for people like myself and the lady, they can step back and say, hold on a second. I'm seeing reality, but it doesn't quite match what's in the content of my emotion of my three-headed bodies. And then you can see reality is real. This is not real. And then you can let it go. But you have to have a basis for you to see the reality. And as Master say, 2024 and onwards, anything unreal will be let go, will be challenged. And this
I
is
know,
how we challenge.
yeah. So like I know I've had personal experiences. It was same, benevolent narcissist. And in both cases, when it came for me to drop the illusion, to see through the illusion, it was when I stepped back and I did not react. So I was in a
Mm-hmm,
situation with one who was my boss, hauling me over the coals, for taking a day off.
mm-hmm,
and 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 for the first time ever, I just I didn't argue, I didn't defend myself,
mm-hmm,
didn't I didn't even feel emotional with her
mm-hmm,
getting angry. Like that was probably the biggest one. So, I just was just sitting there and I didn't care. I had
mm-hmm,
and and what happened was the reaction was just this woman, just her aura turned black and red,
mm-hmm,
and she was exploding like a volcano.
mm-hmm,
And I honestly thought, oh my God, I think she's going to die. Like it was
mm-hmm,
so intense. Like she looked like she could die. Like it was so
mm-hmm,
negative energy. And for me, like I just stepped back and I saw the truth. I saw the emperor has no clothes on. They've been coming off little bit by little bit. But then I looked at myself, and it was in myself, I realized, I'd been feeding it by having emotional reactions. There was like this little thread of attachment where, you know, for a while I was trying to sort of help her, trying to change her, and then eventually
mm-hmm,
it just came down to, the last couple of threads were just this emotional reaction
mm-hmm,
of feeling upset about any of those actions. I just saw the illusion like, oh,
mm-hmm,
this is what I'm dealing with, something out of control. So that was sort of like the beginning of it. I guess just step by step, even though I didn't know about, the higher bodies and letting go of cells and everything, but I think step by step I was clearing each of the
mm-hmm,
bodies, and that final one was the emotional body, just
mm-hmm.
really, really cutting free from that. And yeah, it's a nice feeling. So
But let me ask you a question.
mhm,
How do you feel you need to save that person?
I did. Yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah, I've felt the need to save people for, yeah, that's just been an MO that's been running in very many ways. And I'm still getting to the bottom of that one, like so almost just right now. But yeah, I've seen right through to it comes from the intention that brought me to Earth. And you know how like they say like we've all got our own little specific little twists of intentions that brought us to Earth, and it might be sort of to help people stop suffering. And I finally got to my particular one, which is I like to, like, my MO is to want to lift people up. Like I want to help
Mm-hmm,
raise people, raise their consciousness and help them see their potential. So I can see when I applied it to fallen beings and narcissists, that was my initial focus forever, like, just trying to help them see the light within themselves, but all they kept projecting was illusion and darkness. And so it was kind of just this constant dead end effort. And then it's been refining back little bit by little bit, through so almost like through the layers of consciousness, to the point
Mm-hmm.
where I'm at now of just seeing like this self is never going to be fulfilled. It's because you can't possibly, it's not our responsibility to do that, like to, because it's trying to control the environment, it's trying to control other people, like, that. So if some people might respond, but not everyone. And so this self has this sense of like rejection and failure, and that I've just failed in my mission, like because others aren't achieving what I've projected they, what I believe, what I see in them. They're not
Mm-hmm.
the same light that I see. And yeah, and I guess yeah. Sorry, you comment.
Well, to me, what where I see it, like saving people, is like if you think about you're saving people, uh, in a deeper sense, they're all spiritual beings. They're all our brothers and sisters, and they're all living through their own experiences. And I always come to think myself, okay, so God created us equal, but with unique individuality. And we have all different divine plans to experience different experiences. So I always ask myself, why do I have this tendency to try to save people? I'm sure that you probably heard my experiences this year with my father. I was able to bring him back to life with the help of several masters. And but I always have a deeper sense of a question: who am I saving? Am I
Mm,
saving my father, my spiritual brother, or I am trying to save my plan that I created or formulated from a natural planet? And I use my father as an excuse, as a vehicle for me to realize my plan is working. My plan that I formulated from natural planet is actually working. And the same thing with my plan for not making a decision, for making a choice. And I'll allow other people to make choices, like the benevolent narcissists, to make choices for me until I start making a choice. But that also comes from my plan that I made from a natural planet. And that people are not willing to make choices for themselves to raise themselves. So maybe I should come and help make choices for them. And for that to happen, I have to put myself in a situation where I cannot make choices for myself. I need someone to make choices for me. But I always thought, why am I doing all this? And it came to a full realization that all I did, all the gifts that I did, all the things that I challenged the doctors this year in the hospital for not seeing that they're healers, that they should be able to do the same thing as I did. But that I came to realization that too was a plan that I formulated from the natural planet I came from. And I was so focused on trying to fulfill all that plan. I wasn't malicious or anything like that. It wasn't even dualistic. It was simply I have the desire to fulfill this plan because I felt if I don't fulfill it, there must be something wrong with me. I must not be good enough to do it because, hey, I was good enough in the natural planet. I was a leader in natural planet in healing. So if I came to an unnatural planet like Earth and I couldn't succeed even such a simple thing, I must be a failure. I must not be good enough. And that also the fallen being used that to play on my psyche. That David, you're not good enough. You're not really, that smart because hey, you came from an agile planet. Now you came here and you're nothing. You fail so many times with your plans. But then I realized, do I really need to fulfill those plans anymore?
Yeah, yeah.
Do I really need to make them successful? Do I really need to see every single plan succeed 100%? Of course, with my dad, I'm happy. I'm delighted. At least some of the plan succeeded. There was at that time in winter in January when he wake up when he chose life. He saw me. He chose life. That was a redeeming quality of the plan. But there was I wasted how long? Millions of years to see that to see that result. That small result.
Mm.
And to me, I say it's almost like you run a marathon and you train so hard and you want to qualify for the Boston Marathon, but you couldn't qualify. But then one day you managed to qualify. Even the times are bad, but you still qualify. Wouldn't that be the time to say enough is enough? You're happy with the result? And at that moment, I said to myself, Masters, I'm very happy with the results. I came to Earth, I came what I had to do, I fulfilled my mission. I'm happy with the result, even though it wasn't a great result, but happy with it. I'm moving on. And at that moment, I was free. And it was like such a relief. Because right now, I see the election, people are doing this, or they're choosing that, or they're making millions of excuses why people are not voting for Kamala, why people are voting for Trump. And I look at it and say, does it really matter? Does it really matter to me? And to me, like, it doesn't really matter anymore. I mean, it matters in terms of what Saint Germain says that right now is the choices people have to are still unwilling to make. The choices between a narcissist and a normal person. The power elite, they are also unwilling to see yet. But to me, I see all that and I say, I know it will be done one day. I know that they will see it. I know that one day most of them will be able to step back and say, how am I so foolish to even do such a thing like that 4 years ago? It may take 4 years, it may take 8 years, but one day they will be able to see it. And that was the time I had to let go. I had to let go that I don't need to intervene with the consequences of those people's choices. Like I always try to do. Like I always try to intervene to try to prevent people to make those choices. But really, it's because of me, because of the plan. Because I thought, okay, if I were to intervene with my plan, maybe they will be able to see. But many millions of years, even my dad was pointing fingers at me when in hell. But you were the one that caused me to be like this. Of course, he has the right to do that. It's his free will to accuse me, to blame me for everything I did, even though I tried to help him. But in the end, he realized he also was blinded by his own plan, his divine plan, to try to save me. So we're both trying to save each other, but it was a futile attempt. It was a wasted attempt. And now I have no plan to save him. He has no plan to save me. Our relationship is on a different level, very different level than before he became sick and died. So that is also, I say, I am free. I free myself from helping others, needing to help others. And I am compelled to help people be the example by helping myself raise my level of consciousness by shifting my consciousness so they can see the example. They can compare. As I raise up, so will they have to raise up because we're all one, right? So you raise your level of consciousness, you shift, whoever is around you have to raise their consciousness as well. They will be propelled to raise their level of consciousness. As we tie ourselves to the American election, we make the calls, the masses were doing all the ghost busting, but behind the scene, we're putting them on the line. Choose whatever. You choose life or you choose death. Or you can choose both too. And
And you can change your
they
mind
do.
too.
Exactly.
You can choose another choice at any moment. It's the great.
Exactly. You can choose a choice at any moment. So that is, to me, I saw that is free will. That means that they're not fixed on choosing Trump. They may choose Trump today or tomorrow, but 2 years from now, 4 years from now, 6 years from now, 8 years from now, they can choose someone else who truly represents the people. So when I see that, when I saw that potential, I said to myself, why am I doing this plan? People are able to choose. People are able to change their choice. It's not fixed. It's not like the fallen beings say, "Oh, you cannot choose any other choices. You're destined to choose this choice. If you don't have us, you're gonna choose this choice. It's a bad choice." But people always know what to choose. People know when they are given enough, when they have woken up, information, data, knowledge, and willingness to shift their level of consciousness higher because we're the example, we're the one that driving them up. They will choose someone else who's better, who is higher than Trump. But right now, the consciousness that we have right now is focused only on Trump because that's what they have in the unresolved psychology. But I realized that if I can change myself, if I can let go of that focus to change other people because I need to complete my plan, so will they. They also have a plan in themselves, and their plan is to vote for Trump. And they think that their plan will work. But of course, reality will challenge their plan. And eventually they will see that their plan is nothing more than the emperor has no clothes. And then they will realize that and they will change. For the moderate ones, they will change easily. For the extremists that goes to the school of hard knocks, their change will be very painful and, I guess, challenging.
Yeah. And I guess, as we go through our own inner process of, letting go of attachments to the outer and transcending the selves one by one, it's and without even trying to control others, but it gives us our own sense of inner peace. and
Mm-hmm.
that's and that's and that's just simply the gift. Like, when people sort of begin to look outwards and be like, oh, there's something different, this person is just sort of at peace, or they're not disturbed by what's going on, and why is that, and you don't
Mm-hmm.
even say or do anything, like just allow that to happen. And yeah.
Yeah.
Like Kuthumi in the end of his recent teaching from the US conference, and he just sort of said it's all pyramids within pyramids within pyramids, so
Mm-hmm.
just building up, 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 and yeah, keep taking each step at a time. Yeah.
And I think Uthumi puts it like that because he had that experience when he was Saint Francis of the Assisi, and he was somewhat stuck. And we had like the sense that I had from Kuthumi when he was challenging me was that he I could relate to him. I could relate to him that I built this sense of self that I felt comfortable with, and I can focus on that sense of self, and I can focus as being having a purpose, a sense of purpose to do something and to help people, but it wasn't really doing. It was like trying to be someone who can help exact change. But then, as he was saying, that it's a pyramids upon pyramids upon pyramids, and sometimes all you have to do is just step back and then see for yourself, do you really have to belong to the creation that you created for lifetimes after lifetimes? Or can you just let it go and enjoy life and be who you are on this planet and just enjoy life without having the burden of building more and more of that pyramid? You can have the the um the option of having the experience only. Just be who you are, and you're out there, you have all the insights that you have, and then you be the example for people to look and to look up to. And people will notice, like you say, people will definitely notice you. That you're different. What makes you different that I am not able to achieve? And then they can see then that you don't have a lot of elaborate structures. They have elaborate structures, but you decided to let go of that. And then you're free. And then they see, oh, that's the only way to let go of the structure is to let go of your focus on yourself and try to keep on building the structures, making it more complicated. And at first, when I guess when Kathumi challenged me, it was actually my identity of that self that have this sophistication, that sense that this self knows I can do best. I think I know best. I think I know how to approach helping people, healing people. So it's it's not even an arrogant sense of self. It's not egotistic self. It's sure. It almost like it has a memory or it has an experience from a natural planet that I have achieved that position and I'm in a comfortable position to help others. Rather than when Kuzumi challenged me, but you can be yourself, just like you, Neptune, just like you right now. Like even though you're shaved, you're now cooler because the weather in Australia is much warmer, but you don't feel like you're really all that bothered because you took the practicality. Okay, I shave my head. I don't really need to carry my old auntie. And it feels nice because now I don't have hair. It feels much cooler. It's so comfortable. That's exactly the feeling afterwards when Kazumi challenged me. I had so much baggage. And it's like, well, not a lot, but enough to sort of like toss and turn for 2 hours in bed because I really didn't want to give up. That for someone who now looks at it and say, why am I spending 2 hours tossing and turning, not giving up that last self? But sometimes it is like sometimes like for people um, who have walked along path, they have built up this sense of self that they feel comfortable with, they identify with, and they say there's nothing wrong with itself. And it's not nothing wrong with that, but it's limiting because then now I can experience something that I couldn't experience with my spiritual brother, my dad. I have never experienced it. Even he accepted it. He had never experienced this sense of closeness, that oneness, without identity. Like he doesn't look at me and say, hey, son, you got to pick up the garbage. You got to, do this and do that and do that. No, it's like, okay, you have duties to help me and I have duties to help you type of thing. It's like what we do on earth, we do on earth, but the relationship is not like based on a certain identity anymore. It's based on who we are at that moment. And so to me, it is a fantastic relationship. And to have just like you having a fantastic relationship with you. Like when you're saying, this is what I like to have in the interview, and this is why I'm looking forward, I say, oh, get it on. I love it. I feel good because I don't need to impose myself onto this interview. I don't need to impose my being myself onto this platform. I can express what I see. If I'm wrong, so be it. I'm learning, I'm growing at the same time. But it's not like, you're putting a certain layer on yourself. You can be who you are and you're expressing. And I think that coming to democracy, the future of democracy is bright because we need democracy to allow all of us to work together. Like we are here exchanging views and ideas. And in democracy, in a more modern democracy, we will respect the rights of everyone who have the ability to express themselves. And for themselves to express freely, they can actually grow quicker through the expression because there's something that maybe someone sees and you haven't seen. And then you can then use that person's insights to look at yourself and be able to reflect on yourself. Maybe there's something in me that's stopping me from growing. And you need democracy for that. Like right now, like with America and with the whole world, everybody is like every man on every man or woman is an island, and they think that that's the way to grow. Oh, that's the way to prosperity, and that's the theme right now. Is like, okay, we'll just elect a few power elite like Elon Musk. They make America efficient. The business will boom. It's basically pro-business friendly, making the economy grow, and then when the economy grows, it will lift all boats, including the people who are not the middle class, the lower income. So they haven't seen that if they work together and help each other, they can actually, by being unified, make the economy grow and benefits everyone, not like the top-down approach that right now people have. So again, I mean, with democracy, you can have difference of insights from different people. Everybody will have different insights. Like you have different insights, valid insights. And so do all the Ascended Master students. They have valid insights because they're all unique individuals. So if we all share that on an equal footing, sharing and listening, just like when I listened to Dylan and Kim Michael's talk, I learned a few things too from them. So they have certain insights that I am grateful to learn from. But right now, because we don't have that kind of unified democracy where everybody shares without guilt and without fear of being persecuted, that kind of learning experience is not as quickly developed as opposed to if you have a unified sense of oneness, if we all work, if we all learn together. So I would say that if we'll talk about this kind of election and what the outcome would become, I would say that it will help accelerate the process into a better democracy.
Mm.
Because I think this way people will see with their own eyes.
Yeah, because I noticed even, I just noticed as I was flicking through the news articles, and there are people who are standing up and they're democratically expressing their perspectives, you know, they're expressing it, with demonstrations and everything. And I just thought, oh, this is good, like,
Mm-hmm.
just groups coming together, women, um, immigrants, whatever it might be, but just stepping up and putting that voice out there as a strong collective voice. So, it's kind of like bringing democracy to life in a way. And
Hmm.
it will bit more by more, like just awaken people to like, yeah, we can say something,
Hmm.
can do something. You don't have to have lots of money to speak. Like we've got
No, no.
we've got
Hmm.
YouTube, we've got
Hmm.
so many social platforms. Like there's so much opportunity to use the voice. And so the question is, what do you want to say? Like what means something to you? What do you feel passionate about? And different for everyone.
And I think that's a good outcome because everybody expressing their Christhood, so to speak, because they're expressing their insights and the voice of what they want people to be heard. Because long before this, everybody has this fear of expressing themselves. Like for us, Mother Mary encouraged us to express our Christhood by simply sharing our insights and our stories publicly or in written form. And Kim Michaels made many excellent YouTube videos sharing his insights, and so is Dylan, and so is you, and everybody else in the Ascended Master community. So we're expressing, our Christhood, and I think that has that momentum, the impetus that drives that energy, that willingness. We are the forerunners of the golden age. If we express Christhood, we express our insights, then that impetus, that momentum spreads to normal people who might otherwise be afraid of saying what they want to say. And this is a good thing because when more people say about this, it's about shifting psychology, right? I mean, right now what you're seeing with Trump and with that, it may look gloomy, but it's not. It's just whatever the psychology people have, it projected out to the from through the macro light onto the screen, and that's what we're seeing on the screen. It's basically people's unresolved psychologies or people's mental images of what they want to see in the matter world. But all that can change because the matter light is not fixed. It's not permanent.
Yeah.
It's ever
And stop
changing. It's
stop
dynamic.
feeding any sort of our own imbalanced energy to that image, like just focus on the image of democracy, what it really is, that
Hmm.
love and abundance is a part of democracy, and just keep investing energy into that, and just let the drama happen. Because,
Exactly.
those stories we've told, like, just remove ourselves from our emotional reaction, our reactions to it, and just um, then focus on, the higher vision, which is coming from within.
Absolutely. And if we work on ourselves and remove as many of the separate selves that we have in us to this time period, because it's again a learning opportunity with the new presidency, how we react to his policies and how we react to the economy that he will influence, and how the people will react. All of these may have the potential to teach us how we react and able to see in us what we don't want to have anymore. And as we let go of these separate selves or these contents in our uh, three bodies, we are able then to hold on to the Immaculate Concept. And what is the Immaculate Concept of the new America, the new democracy? And then when we hold on to that Immaculate Concept, there's no stopping. They
Mm.
can't stop it. Fallen beings know they can't stop that. They
Yeah.
can only slow down, delay the process, but they can't stop the process of self transcendence, and that's the thing that I guess Many students and many spiritual students, doesn't have to be a Son of Master organization, but many spiritual students are fearful of is that they think that the fallen beings have power over this process.
Mm.
And even when I discuss some of that in the Reddit forums, I say the earth is on an upward spiral.
Yeah, yeah.
Democracy will move on. They're not going to stop. There's no way you can stop that. It's like trying to stop a freight train with a rope. You
Yeah, I
can't
know
stop it.
that one of like, getting these rocket ships and trying to stop the rotation of the Earth.
Yeah,
I love that vision.
it's
Like, it's impossible.
no,
The River of
it's
Light
impossible.
is
Hmm.
so vast and huge and powerful that, yeah, don't bother.
But the thing is that I've internalized that to my experience with my father. That it was that moment that because my father was dying and dead, and I said, and the fallen being said, "You're going to lose your father." And in my mind, in my heart, I say, "No, the earth is on an upward spiral. If my brother chose life, he will be also on the upward spiral, and he chose life. And even though on the upward spiral he's slow, climbing slowly, but he's on an upward spiral. And that was the thing that I was hesitating even this winter, this January, I was hesitating for a slight. That I For a slight moment I didn't believe Earth is on an upward spiral. I mean, conceptually, the masters always say, "Hey, Earth is on an upward spiral. You don't worry about it. Earth is on an upward spiral." The fallen beings can say whatever they want, but Earth is on an upward spiral. But conceptually, intellectually, I accepted that. However, internally, I didn't quite accept that until that last moment. I said, I gave up, I surrendered, and I said one word, but Earth is on an upward spiral. I said it like out loud by myself in an empty room. I said, Earth is on an upward spiral. You cannot stop that. I was telling the fallen beings. And there was silence. And then 2 days later, my dad woke up. So that was the moment I chose to believe in my heart that Earth is on the upward spiral. But I was shocked when I share that with people on Reddit. They say Earth is on an upward spiral. You don't have to worry about it. Just focus on yourself, work on yourself, raise your consciousness, shift your perspective, and then Earth is will always be on an upward spiral.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
these people say, no, David, you are just so naive. Earth, the fallen beings will have power over Earth. So even
yeah,
though they have a yeah, even have that they have a concept that or an understanding that Earth is on an upward spiral, they don't believe it yet. But I think that this experience with Trump, which is a blessing in disguise, can help them reevaluate their own self and
yeah,
then make them believe that Earth is indeed on the upward spiral. It doesn't matter you try to tie a rocket ship around Earth and try to make it spin backwards. You're not going to succeed.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think that's the perfect place to close. Like I have to move on with my morning and everything. But I think the message that, Earth is on an upward spiral, just remind yourself of that constantly. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good place to just close with that message, with that immaculate concept.
All right.
All right. So thank you for joining me today, David. So lovely. And goodbye, everybody.
All right. Thank you. Goodbye.